pristine.
And they can also say that what we've done has helped flood control.
Enhanced flood control.
As
Well, that would be the logical way to think, but see,
don't
they're not thinking like that. They're saying that the
You ain't got
natural
the damn
ditch was
airport. This
actually
is
better
already-
than us concreting it. Because of what we did, we not only changed the environment, we changed the velocity, the rates, the absorption, and everything of that creek from the top to the bottom.
By the top, you
From
mean
where
at
it
the
starts.
headwaters?
And yeah, from where it starts up.
Well,
a
they
little
even
bit, so
changed the
you-
contour of the ditch because the ditch started over by,
Stephen F.
Stonewall
Austin, the other
Jackson,
side.
Stephen, over there by, where the right of way crosses, the roadway.
Yeah.
That's
The
where
ditch comes under
was.
Crichton Road.
That's another ditch. They built that ditch down the middle of the right of way
Uh-huh.
to take care of the contour that was already there. That was where the original ditch was. They took what we did back before I was even here in RP. They took it and extended it from the back of, along the golf course, back up to behind, by Max Mahaffey's house. And just changed the entire course of that was an open ditch at that time. But there were two ditches feeding in and they just closed the other one off.
Okay.
Now they have a flume that runs down through there and connects.
Well, we gotta do what we gotta do, I guess.
Well,
That's just it.
it's just more money, that's all.
I'd rather put the money into water, like drinking water, like sewer.
You're gonna be asked to do that too.
that's coming up.
Good evening.
Good morning.
Good morning. I know I said that a few minutes ago, so.
Yes, it
Mark.
Good nodding.
Yeah, I just came out wrong.
Buenos
That's
dias.
fine.
Good, how are you
You're
doing?
looking good.
Thank you.
You betcha.
Close enough.
Did that come out right, Joey?
What?
The
Oh.
changes?
It's,
I just copied what he said.
6:30, shall we commence the,
Yes.
regular meeting? It's regular meeting that should have been on Thursday, but we're here on Monday, to facilitate having a quorum. The Board of
But that was supposed to be
Directors
on
of the River
Thanksgiving.
Plantation Municipal Utility District will now come to order. The first item on here is confirmed minutes of the prior meeting. Has everybody read?
I have 2 copies. Is there a reason?
There was a change.
There was a change in it.
Okay.
The one that was on your conference table when you got here is the new one.
Right.
I don't remember if it was my left hand I picked it up or my right hand.
And it says adopt instead of accept at the bottom, the
bottom.
last paragraph.
The adopt is the right one.
Any comment?
The adopt is the correct
He
one.
wants to be,
Is that correct?
The
Because
adopt
one
is the
says
correct one.
adopt, the other one says accept.
The adopt is the correct one.
Accept goes bye-bye.
And so we take this one. I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes.
Motion's been made, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Kurtzinger, if I can interrupt, Paul Raddick was requesting that he listen in on the meeting.
Who?
Paul Raddick,
The
What
attorney.
for?
our attorney. Just in case anybody had any comments or anything.
About what?
Any questions or whatever?
Are we going live? Is that what it is? You just.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put him on speakerphone. If that's okay.
I have no problems. It's an open meeting. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Any comments from the public?
Hey, Paul, this is Richard. I'd
Anybody
like to put
wanna-
you on.
Make a comment? Dolores?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't make any comments last month, because after listening to everything, I was a little confused. So I went through my notes again. And I guess I've got a couple of questions here. Back to that meeting that you had with the TCEQ and Homeland Security on getting a guard to take care of the tanks. I was wondering, did you ever have any director go with you at that meeting?
I never had a meeting with TCQ.
Well, you said you had a meeting with
No.
TCEQ and Homeland Security.
No,
What
no,
did,
no. I didn't say I had a meeting with them.
what'd you say?
I said that they were, Homeland Security and TCQ recommended that we have additional surveillance over and above what we had. That's what they recommend.
Okay, so what, phone
I didn't have a
conversation?
meeting.
You had a phone conversation then or something, or what?
No, it's published. It's published data.
Well, then how come the next month it says we need surveillance as far as cameras? And the thing is, Richard was getting proposals back in April. I mean, I don't get that.
I don't understand the question.
Well, I'm just wondering why we were talking about having some guards or overseeing the tanks on the weekends.
East Plantation hired a guard.
Yeah, but you were talking
We
about that
didn't
too.
hire one.
Yeah, I know
East
that you were
Plantation
talking
did.
about that. But then the next month it was back to surveillance cameras, so.
Well, if
And
we
that's what
want
you-
extra surveillance, there are different avenues that we can take. That's what was brought up, if I recall. And it was brought up that we will take, or he had bids taken from April for cameras and all, and he was to bring those bids to the attention of the board, and if we so fit, we would act upon it.
Okay. Okay, then I've got a question about the Corps of Engineers. I mean, it seemed like they were supposed to be so hard to deal with, and here who was it, Gloria and Sam Jones went down to see him, and,
They didn't get the Corps of Engineers person that's in charge of this area.
well, they got the
had a
person that said it's
spokesperson.
fine.
They ended up with a spokesperson who was glad to get them in and out of the office. Had no bearing, and she so iterated to them, had no bearing on what was going on here at RP.
Yeah, but that was just the ditch cleaning,
All I
it
can tell you
wasn't
is
taking the
it had
lining.
no bearing on what goes on here at RP.
Well, I think it was certainly an incentive to get it moving. You know, on our website, it says
We-
water, sewer,
There
flood,
was-
drainage.
Things are being moved.
Slowly.
That's the way the Army moves.
Yeah, but the thing is, flood drainage is one of the responsibilities of the
There
district.
is no doubt in our mind about that.
And then we all know when hurricane season starts, so we
That's
ought to
right.
be cleaning ahead of that time.
That's right.
Yeah, because people, even that gal that was in here last month got 4 inches of water, never had water. And don't give me this stuff about 11 inches in 3 hours. If we had good drainage, wouldn't have been a problem. Now, one other thing was mentioned was to talk to the districts north. I would say, see the districts south. Make sure that their drainage is working, because otherwise it's gonna be backing up and it's gonna be backing up here. So I really think we need the Jones, we really need to thank them for all the work they did. I want to talk about the email addresses. When are they going to be on the website? We've only
We
been
don't have
talking
any yet. I
about
sent you one
those
out.
for what? How many
Did you get me
months?
an email? Oh.
Yeah.
So I have it? Okay. Is it Outlook or how is it? How do I get it on my phone?
I don't know, I'm trying to figure that one out. Lycos is not like a normal. Yours is up and running.
But I
haven't got
can't
a-
check it.
I haven't got a password for it, but.
Yeah, but it's not on the
Print out
website.
stuff to put it on there. How you supposed
Nothing.
to access it? That's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to find out.
Nothing's on the website yet.
Do you actually
Yeah.
want their
Well, I have an email address, but I don't know how to get to it.
It's a work in progress.
Yes, it's a work in progress.
You may be internet savvy, but we're a little bit older and we're not as,
I'll be over to help you this week.
I don't really need any help.
Okay, that's all I've got.
Any other comments? All right, let's review the financial and bookkeeping matters.
Richard, what's Green Utility Services?
They're a utility company that I use for projects that are out of our realm, and if we need special equipment and stuff, they're a good company to rely on.
what kind of
They
equipment?
do.
They,
What do they do?
they do water, wastewater, water lines, sewer lines, sewer equipment. Yeah, they got big equipment where it's out of my range to fix.
Big holes.
Okay.
If I have a major problem or a major break, or for instance, the storm sewer lines that we're fixing that are 48 inches diameter, I can't get down there, 10 feet below ground. He's gotta bring a giant size trackhoe out and dig it out. I don't have that capability. My little backhoe will only go so far. And then I have to contract it out.
Okay.
They're a good company. We've
He
been
had a
using them
good
for
month.
years.
He had a good month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
got a lot of issues though. I'm afraid they're not over yet either.
What else we got?
Well, we got other storm drains that are starting to collapse, and people calling me, they got holes in their yards and stuff. So when you go check it, you're looking at a 36-inch line that's rusted through. So now we're gonna have to start spending money on
What if we
fixing
relined a couple years ago? Or-
sewer lines.
And these are the water lines?
These are storm drains.
Storm,
Storm drains.
Totally different than the sewer line. Yeah,
they're storm sewer.
storm sewer lines. Well, they call them technically they're called storm sewers, but they're the storm water lines,
For
storm
draining
drains.
storm
Right,
water.
right. Sewer lines are,
And we put these off until they just disintegrated, I
well,
guess.
you have to remember, most of these were put in the 70s, and their lifespan was 30 years, and we're a little bit past that now. So we're gonna have to start spending some money on replacing some of these lines. The bad thing is they're going through people's yards, between their yards and their backyards, and getting equipment back in there is not fun.
So when are we supposed to start those projects of fixing those storm
Stormwater,
drains?
Are we doing them as
As holes
they
pop up
fail?
or?
Or?
right now, I'm looking at them as they're popping up, trying to fix them. This year, hopefully by the mid or end of this year, I'm gonna have them all lined out, taking measurements, sizes, maps and everything, so I can hand them to the engineer, because we don't want him doing all that.
Okay.
And then he'll put together a proposal for what it's gonna cost, and the following year, we're gonna have to budget for that.
So we have to wait 2 years
No,
to
we don't
get
have
these
to wait,
fixed?
no, we don't have to wait that long. I mean, some of them I'm not gonna be able to wait that long, But the priority lines to me are gonna be the ones that are in people's
That are
backyards,
collapsing.
that are collapsing and causing hazards, I mean, to fix the overall system,
So you're talking about doing all of them
yes.
2 years from now? Okay.
They're all gonna have to be done. My estimated cost is gonna be about 2 million. So that's why I'm putting it up, as you can see.
We're replacing them all, or we're lining them, or what's?
You're having to line them, in some cases that are between the yards and stuff, you can't go tearing up people's backyards.
Yeah, I know.
So we have to line them. Now, the bigger ones that are out in the open, if they're not that deep, hey, I don't care, tear them out. But the ones we can't get to where people have, grown into them already, you don't have a choice but to line them.
If they're collapsed, how do you line them?
You have to do what's called a point repair. They'll go in just where the section's collapsed, cut the section out, put in a temporary piece, and then line the whole thing.
So that would mean going into somebody's yard if necessary.
If I have to go, I don't have a choice, yes.
Well,
And-
there's already, their yard is
It's already
collapsed,
full.
right?
Yeah. If
There's a hole there.
Right, if there's a hole there, and the sidewalls or the tops are rusted out, but I can still push a liner through it, I'm not worried about that one. It's the ones that have totally collapsed that I have to, so.
Okay.
Anybody have any more questions on the financials?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No.
Let's proceed on then to the next item. Which is the administrative reports.
Administrative reports are pretty well normal for this time of year, everything's running fine. On the administration report, we did shut down plant number 2, water plant number 2, but you have the literature there that was handed out because I got a last minute report. 2 was shut down because we've talked about it in the past when we were starting to pump sand. So the alternative was let's look at the pump and let's see what the condition of the well is before we really start to fork out a lot of money. And this report that came back is showing the current condition of it. Some of the things I suspected already are put in writing now. So we did have the pump was failing, and it's going to have to be replaced. The column pipe's rusting, the lining's rusting, and the one thing that I was hoping wouldn't happen, the camera survey is showing us that now the casing is starting to rust through. So it's going to be a major issue, and these are some of the recommendations that Weisinger's giving us as to what's going to fix the plant.
What did we budget for this?
That would come out of capital expenditures.
Right, didn't we budget for well number 2 repairs?
1.6 million.
Okay.
Now, as part of this expense that's listed on this letter, or in this bid, is part of this expense is gonna go to EPUD, right?
No. Well number 2 is totally ours, not a joint plant whatsoever. We'll absorb 100% of this cost.
So how did we go from budgeting 1.2 to,
1.2 replaces it.
Replace
okay,
it,
so we're
correct.
just gonna repair it?
What the recommendation is that we repair it at this time.
Right,
Okay.
But we don't know what we're repairing yet.
right.
And that's the reason why it's open-ended. Weisinger gave us a bid of roughly $250,000, and it's still open-ended from that because they don't know what else they're gonna run into
Right.
until they get the pipe clean and all. It's gonna be my recommendation that we dispense with the camera runs and run a electromagnetic casing inspection tool, which would give us, it took them, how many hours did they say to find the one hole?
6 hours.
6 hours to find one hole in 700 or 800 feet. And there may be others, they're unsure. And a casing log and casing inspection log is an electromagnetic casing log will give us the thickness of the pipe all around rather than just looking for a hole. And
So
will
who
tell us
does
the
that?
overall condition of the 16-inch pipe that we have to deal with. Now,
Who do we contract with that, for that?
there are a number of people that
That's what I'm looking at.
And what's
now.
it run?
the Schlumberger, a Halliburton, a BJ, there's a jillion of them. I'd asked
Right.
Richard to call one of them and get a number, and did you?
They don't allow calls. I had to fill out a form online
Oh,
and make an appointment and
I'll
just.
call somebody.
I was gonna say, I've got a
I
contact
deal
at
with 'em.
Schlumberger.
I'll
If
call
you
them.
can get somebody to call me back. I detailed it, but you have to submit it in a contact us format and they get back to you.
I'll call somebody at Schlumberger tomorrow morning.
Yeah, they're treating it like it's a cost estimate.
Exactly.
Anyway, right now, the pump is torn apart and all the bits and pieces are sitting in Weisinger's yard up near Willis. And, if anybody wants to go look at it, it's there.
You know, the column pipe's showing its age, the shafts are showing their wearing, you know, I mean, it's just, you have to remember that well was drilled in '70, so.
Well, that's
When?
what I'm wondering.
70.
So are we
1970.
gonna repair it, or are we gonna replace it? I mean, are
No,
we
we're
just
gonna
kicking it
replace
down
it.
the hole,
No,
down the
the
road?
pump-
or-
The pump we're gonna replace,
The pump we have to replace.
but we're looking at the pipe now.
All the column pipe, all the drive shafts, all the bearings, all that's gonna have to be replaced.
Yeah, all the internal
Right,
will have to be replaced irregardless of what we do about the casing.
right.
What about the casing?
Don't know yet.
Yeah.
That's what. you
We
gotta run
haven't,
the log
we
on.
haven't got that.
We haven't got a definitive answer on the shape that the casing's in.
Okay, well,
And
then we
until
can't
we
do it.
get that,
Right.
or as definitive as we can get, there's no way we could give you an estimate as to what it's gonna take from that point on.
Right.
It may be that we can repair it by squeezing cement. There's a jillion different ways to go about it. We can put patches, if it's minor deals, we can put a patch in there. If it was very minor, we wouldn't even have to run a liner.
Right.
And we could put a patch. And so we wouldn't have to buy the 12-inch pipe as a liner.
Right.
So until we know the condition of what we're dealing with,
We don't know whether.
we don't know a precise number. Now, I can tell you without qualm that the internals will have to be replaced. The pump, the shaft, etc.
Roughly how much?
That's roughly $100 and something thousand, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
I forget, there's a break, the total was $250 and I think it was about half of it.
Oh, that's all in the,
Yeah.
That's in the,
That's the turnkey,
okay.
the turnkey number.
Yeah,
Okay.
there are certain things you have to do to prepare to run this inspection log, and that's in here.
Mhm.
They're gonna have to run some casing scrapers, or what they call a wire brush.
The good news is that after surveying, televising, I should say, the bottom screens that we were concerned about, screens are actually still in pretty good shape. So if we can get the casing and everything else, the 700 feet between that and the surface taken care of, we could probably run it another 10 to 20 years. So that's a
It
good
just
thing.
depends on how much metal loss
It
we've
just
seen
depends,
in
right.
50 years,
Right.
60 years. Almost 60 years, 50 years.
almost longer than-
Anyway, that's where that stands, and it's gonna be, my recommendation that we proceed to the point to where we do the casing inspection by whatever means we decide. And then make a decision at that point as to how to proceed.
Right.
Okay.
It'd be better to have a lump sum,
Make that in form of a
wouldn't it?
motion, since it's on the agenda. I will
Why?
make such a motion that we take this in 2 steps. One is that we perform the necessary steps to inspect the casing and rebuild the internals, the pump, shaft, etc. And then we take the second step after evaluation of what we do about the outer casing. I submit that in the form
Sounds
of a
like a
motion.
plan.
I hear a
I
second.
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 Motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's that part. What's the next item? I've lost my place.
Casting votes for candidates.
Oh, yeah. Montgomery County Appraisal District. Your ballot must be returned before the 16th. Now, we had a ballot, as I
I
recall.
thought we did that last month.
I thought we did too. No, or was that something else?
If it's all part of the same thing, that's when you decided that, yeah, why participate in it, we only get 2 votes.
Well, anyway, we're entitled to 2 votes.
Yep.
Does anybody have a druther?
No.
No.
What's the choice?
Pardon?
What's the choice?
Barry Blanton, Guy Hancock, Petty Houseman, Bonar Luce, Ron Raymaker, Andy Adam Simmons, Bruce Tuff, and Carl White.
So we
And
get to
only
pick
2 of
out
those
those
can be
eight.
picked?
Yeah.
Only
I've
two.
seen one guy's name on a sign.
Yeah, Bruce
Really?
Tuff you see everywhere.
If he's got money to post a sign, I don't want him. I don't want
Yeah,
him.
ever who's
I
got the
was gonna say
sign.
Carl White, I've seen his name, and he's running for everything in the city, so.
So does Peggy Houseman, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's right,
Peggy?
yeah.
I think I know Peggy. Somewhere way down.
Anyway, I want to pass this on
I don't care.
to,
Anybody out there?
Have a
Have any-
recommendation?
Anybody want to recommend somebody, or
Okay. We're in agreement.
we're in agreement?
Yep,
We
just
don't
let
care.
it
Say
go.
don't even turn in a ballot.
Yeah. You're not required to.
we're a minuscule, we have minuscule votes
We
in the
have 2
whole thing
votes,
anyway.
yeah.
2 out of 1,000 or 1,200 or something like that.
Yeah, 2 out of about 1,500, 2,000, something like that.
But I think every mud's gonna be the same way. It's like,
Yeah.
May
Yeah.
well be.
So there's only,
there's gonna be
So somebody's
10
gonna win
people
with
that are
one
gonna make
vote.
a
We'd have
decision.
to have a bunch of collusion to
there's
make
gonna
an
be
impact.
24 votes
Is
cast.
there anyone you don't want? That's the way I go into things. It may not be someone you want, but if there's someone you don't want, then that's,
Okay, any more administrative problems?
No, sir. 1 and 3 is online right now, they're carrying the load of the district, plants 1 and 3. This time of the year, we're in good shape.
Yeah, you only got 7 million
Production's
gallons
down, yeah.
last month.
That's right, so we're okay with that, those 2 plants being online.
Probably go down for the next couple of months, I hope.
That's my hope.
So, can I ask, where does this report of taxes collected, where does that fit in here? Administrative or bookkeeper?
That's bookkeeper's
Financial.
report.
Okay, can I go back and ask a question then about the taxes collected? I just wasn't sure where it fit on the agenda. So are we saying there's $30,000 worth of back taxes owed to us?
Yep,
What do we do about
that's
that?
pretty good.
We don't do
What do you mean,
anything.
that's pretty
Yeah.
good?
Yeah,
The
appraisal
It's usually higher than that.
appraisal
It's
district
an
hires
attorney.
lawyers to.
Yeah.
Oh.
They
So do we have to,
No,
And then they.
how do we get,
Yeah, we have to pay a fee.
Percentage?
Yeah.
Did,
sell their house, or sell their property, or?
Whenever the property sells, the taxes will be taken care of.
Oh, okay.
Unless it's a bankruptcy and still it's supposed to be taken care of.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, discuss and approve quotations for cameras at water and wastewater plants. I've gotten out of order here. I missed one.
isn't that what we discussed?
We discussed it, but we didn't decide, we made no decision. As I
We didn't
recall.
vote, I guess, on
Do
a
you-
decision.
do
I know
you
we
want-
decided,
Do you
Did we?
want to pursue? Do you want to purchase? What's
For
the
the
general manager's
wastewater?
recommendation?
are we back on the wastewater? What
Wastewater was one, and water well number 2
Two.
was something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got out of order.
You
Okay.
did, you
I
did
was
the water
wondering which
well.
one. What we're talking
I jumped 5, I didn't
yeah.
pay
Okay.
any attention to it.
So, Richard, I know that we touched on
Are we
this
covered
last
this?
month. It says, quote for cameras, water plant. And then the next one says, quote 3, alarm water plant. And then there's quote 2, alarm office and shop.
Right,
And then quote 1, cameras.
yeah.
So, how does this break down? Quote 4, what water plant is that?
one of them is water plant number 2, and the other one was water plant, understandably just says alarm in the office and the shops. That's this building here.
All right, so the one that just says cameras is
Yes.
wastewater.
I think that's the wastewater one, yes.
Oh, you haven't answered it.
So was this the best
takes
bid,
all
or
four
is
of
this the
them,
only
right?
one we got?
This was the only one that I got because I looked at these bids and went, man, we're gonna spend $2,000-3,000 on cameras, that's ridiculous. You know, that's a lot of money, and then you gotta pay the monthly fee to keep them up and running. And they're all based on if I was to take the one with the shop, because they're transmitting back to the shop.
So are we,
So do we really
well,
wanna
no, they're
spend that
not
money?
transmitted, they're monitored.
They're monitored, correct. But since we don't have Wi-Fi at those locations, they're having to beam it back to this spot.
Right.
See?
So,
What does East Plantation have? They have a system, don't they?
They do not have any
they
system.
have,
Nothing.
they have a constable of security they hired. So, my question is,
Is that cheaper?
do we need, no, do we need to, you're saying TECQ is required, TCEQ is requiring us,
No,
To
no,
up our game?
no. What I said was that TCQ, Homeland Security, request rather than require, there is no requirement for anything more than what we have right now,
okay,
okay? There is no requirement,
okay,
but they do suggest that additional methods be used to survey them, which we have somebody here, let's say we have them 8 hours a day, but they're not in, there's somebody should be at the sewer plant 8 hours a day. There's somebody's around here 8 hours a day, but there's nobody at the water wells 8 hours a day. They come in and go, they pass. The cameras, as I understand this bill, is all they do is monitor, and you don't have a history. Is that correct?
You could pay extra money to record.
no, that's not,
No, I'm talking about these bids that are sitting in my hand right
so
now.
you don't have, this doesn't include a recorder?
I don't think so.
It's
You
all
mean somebody
live
has to
cameras.
be watching it here in the office or
That's
something?
right.
Yeah.
It has to
24
sit-
hours a
Why
day.
would we
Either
do
that or
that?
it has to
No.
trigger an alarm.
No, yeah, I was gonna say, that's what it.
There
what
are
they're doing.
alarms that can have to be triggered.
Right. It's kinda like a motion sensor. They don't come active until somebody breaks the motion sensor. Then
But
they
it's
come
still
active
recorded,
and sends me an alarm or sends somebody an alarm.
right?
If there's somebody walking by
Well-
the plant.
Look at on the first one that says quote 1 camera.
Yes,
If you look at, under description,
yes.
look at line number 4. Is that a Honeywell 4-channel embedded video recorder? Is that what the VR means?
I would
Yeah,
say,
with
I
the
think
4
so,
point-
yes.
4 port.
So it is being recorded.
And that's one at the sewer plant,
Yeah,
That's the wastewater.
yeah.
So that indicates then that maybe it is recorded.
recorded.
I think that was the one that I talked to him about, with a closed loop, where it would just record and then delete, record.
Well,
and
the
delete.
quote 4 is a recorder too.
But it takes all 4, is that what, to monitor everything that we've got? All 4 of these quotations?
Yes,
Total?
Yes,
yes.
And then what is
And
a
then it's
month, is there a monthly
$45 a
fee?
month per, $45 per month per location.
correct.
All right, so that's another $180
$180.
plus tax, I'm sure.
Yeah,
$200.
Call it 2.
I think it comes down to whether we think
we need it.
we need security at the 3 pumps, the wastewater plant, and here. Here might not be so
Have we ever had
much,
any problems?
but that's,
I know.
nobody has
Yeah,
a problem until they
it's
have a
too
problem.
late.
You
I
know,
Right.
you know, yes, I don't think there's any terrorists that are gonna poison our water, but
We don't wanna wait until
But
they do.
if something happens and we haven't put something up, and somebody says, and they sue us for $1 million because somebody dumped some cyanide in somewhere, I don't know. I'm just saying
So
it's,
what are we talking, we're talking less than 10 grand to have it installed? 74. So you're talking less than 10 grand to have it installed.
I know all about
Who's going to monitor it?
it.
They monitor
Oh,
it.
that actually includes
The
monitoring.
$45 a month includes their monitoring.
We just
Really?
installed all that.
That's pretty
you
good.
did,
Yeah, it's the same company.
right now.
We're using it right now.
so the
From the
CIA has
ESI?
for what?
So we have, well, Tom can even tell you about, because he was involved in it, but we have cameras at the sports park and at the office, and we have tripwires. So we do have it recorded, but we don't have it monitored 24 hours, but we have tripwires that automatically set off an alarm, and then we get the call, and we can go on our cameras and look to see what's there. And we can also tell them to automatically call the police, and then they'll be dispatched immediately. But we don't have to have it monitored 24 hours a day, because we're basically doing that with the tripwire.
There's all kinds
And a
of.
tripwire is basically a beam, it's
Yeah.
not, you know,
An IRB.
It's not a wire.
right, right.
So we could save the
And we get
$200 a
alarms,
month.
we get alarms all the time, and the cameras are fantastic, because they can even look at, you can even see the freckle on a guy's face. It's that good.
IR too?
Yeah, I think they
It
said
says
they were
IR
in for
right
it.
here.
Yeah.
They're
up to
up
100
These guys
feet of
have
illumination.
excellent cameras. I have
4
one thing I
MP.
don't like, is if you have to call them back, they're gonna charge you a trip charge to come up here.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know, and that's the only thing I don't like about it. And I've got another company out of Huntsville that has good quality equipment too, and I think he could do a good job. The other thing you need to realize, you're gonna have to have internet, basically, in each location.
Right.
Well, they were
But we installed
burying Cat 5 cable. That included the cost of burying Cat 5 cable in all of them.
That's good.
Yeah. So do we want to, I'm going to make a recommendation and you tell me, do we want to, can you get with Tom and figure out who he's talked to in you said Huntsville, right?
Yeah.
Who he's talked to in Huntsville and see what they can quote us?
Well, I'll tell you what we're trying to do. I've been talking with him about setting up even higher quality cameras to do license plate recognition around
that
the
would be
roads and
nice.
stuff. And they have that capability. These guys can't do the license plate. That's why I ended up with somebody else.
Are they comparable in cost?
Yeah, they're comparable in cost, and they may even be a little more superior as far as their technical capability. Because he's got some internet stuff, or well, it's not really internet, but he can give us the internet feed without internet. In other words, you can't, like at the bridge, we can't do it. It's not cheap, but it's a good way to do it.
That's the issues that I'm looking at, is the cost factor, the monthly fees, and do we really need this much quality in the water plants?
Well, if somebody does do something, you're gonna have to find out who it is
Yeah,
somehow. And without license plates, being able to see
Well,
enough
you
to
don't
get
need-
the,
you
you're not
won't
gonna know
need
who you
that
are.
there, no.
yeah, we
But the
won't need that
difference,
there.
just to help you out, if you look, an 8 meg camera, which is a 4K quality, is what we have, is $50 more than a 4 megabyte camera, which you get very far off from a 4 meg, you can't enlarge it, you can't tell what's going on. So it's $50 a camera, one-time cost, to upgrade it to a 4K quality camera.
And that's what we do.
Yeah. I say we table it. My suggestion is we table it until we get some more information.
I think so. I think we need it.
Yeah.
I mean, like I
I
said,
didn't
just for
read
nothing.
this yet, man.
In this time-
Just
in
so we're
this time
covering
and-
our butts if something happens. We can
All
say
right, we'll table that issue and put it on the docket for the next month. We've discussed the voting, the repairs, pending business. Today, received from the environmental consultant a report, which was the first report that we, turn that off.
Hey, Paul, can you put it on mute, please?
Need it.
I'm here.
Okay. Can you put it on mute though, so that we can't hear your radio? Okay.
There we go.
The stream assessment, which was the first order of business called for by the U.S. Corps of Engineers, was performed and finished today and submitted to Richard for further submission to the U.S. Corps of Engineers. Basically, what it says is, in summary, a U.S. Army Corps of Engineers stream assessment was performed for the subject site. The stream assessment shows that the current channel scores near the lowest possible score for the current ecological value. Somehow they come up with an RCV value, and they calculate it to be 1.22, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest.
So is the lowest the best, or the highest is the
It's
best?
the best,
Okay,
for our purposes.
okay.
If it was 5, that would mean it would be a tropical paradise with all sorts of exotic
Got it.
things running around. The subject stream was found to have an average RCI average value of 1.22 over the entire 7,175 lineal feet of channel. The low RCI value will be utilized in conjunction with any proposed site impacts and will be compared with the post-project values to determine if any compensatory mitigation will be required. Now, the compensatory mitigation is the U.S. Corps of Engineers' ability to find, to cause us to do whatever they require us to do to change or to repair or to continue operation. And that is an open-end checkbook. All right? And so I also asked him how much longer, how many more studies, and there are 2 submissions that he must make. And he estimates anywhere from 1 to 2 years of work to make the submission to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and for them to have their first hearing. I didn't bring it with me, but as I recall, his estimate of that cost, he provided us with an overall estimate that might include mitigation of between $100,000 and $200,000. This was approximately 6 months ago. The document I received from him this afternoon at 4:30 is he will do the next 2 items that are required for approximately $60,000–$65,000, as I recall, of which East Plantation will owe 40 or 50%, whatever the deal is. And that has been forwarded on to East Plantation. They have a board meeting on Wednesday. It is my recommendation that this board go ahead and okay the preparation of the next steps for submission to the Corps of Engineers so that we can get this situation on the move, because we don't know how much longer these 6-month extensions are going to last. And we still have a possibility of recovering some of these monies that we're spending today in the total that we would recover from FEMA once we're able to show what it is. Now, the fact that we're at fault, according to the U.S. Corps of Engineers, may throw that out the window. I don't know. But it would certainly be worthwhile to plead that. Anyway, it's, I make a motion that we continue with SMC. A fellow by the name of Steve McEllier, he has attended all of the meetings and is in Pearland, not too distant from Galveston. Spends most of his time up here apparently. And we give him permission to go ahead and proceed and file the application with the Corps of Engineers.
I have a question about it. How does this impact last month's statements that were made that said we could go ahead and start cleaning out the ditch?
The ditch has been cleaned.
They're cleaning
Yeah,
it.
they're cleaning it now.
Okay. That's all I got.
It has not been cleaned.
Well, it's
It
not
is
totally
being
clean.
cleaned.
They're cleaning it up as we speak.
That's right.
They started last Monday.
Okay.
And
I'll
now you
make-
can see all the broken concrete and everything that was hidden by all
Yeah.
the mud and dirt.
Good, okay.
I'll make a
But I can
motion
find
that
a
we,
golf ball now.
I'll make a motion that we continue working with
Motion
SMS.
been made and
Second.
seconded that we continue with the project to get the Corps of Engineers permit to complete the repairs to what we're gonna call the East
ditch.
Plantation Ditch,
The east ditch.
Behind you.
Okay.
The East
Okay.
Plantation
East
ditch.
Plantation.
not
Ditch.
creek.
Creek, it's not a
Okay.
creek.
It's a ditch.
And, anybody wanna discuss anything on it?
Yes.
I call the
No.
vote then?
Sure.
Call it.
So we-
All in favor,
say aye.
Favored?
Aye.
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 So passed unanimous. The one thing that I want to caution is that I don't think, and I think we would be well to talk to him about not pursuing anything below River Plantation Drive.
You're talking this way.
That's right. Because that's his highest RCI values
Oh, okay.
that he's listed down here. So that may not have a bearing on any part of this thing. The fact that the biggest bearing, the biggest point buried on this whole matter is the fact that we were in violation, or they deem us in violation of their rules. And they want to slap hands. So, is there anything else that needs to be brought before the board under?
Yeah, well, we got Paul on the phone. Paul, do you have any news for us on Charleston, or former Charleston?
He's muted.
He's
Yes,
muted.
I do
Oh.
have an update for us. If you've got just a couple minutes, I can do it pretty quick.
Go.
Go
Can you
ahead.
hear me okay?
Yes.
Great.
Okay, so as you recall from the meeting a month ago, and let me just say, I'm sorry I couldn't be there. I had a hearing that ended at about 6:05 tonight. I was supposed to be hoping to be there in person tonight, and I just didn't get out of court in time. My hearing went way too long. But last month, y'all authorized us to file proceed with the activities necessary to file the condemnation. We have the condemnation resolution, and we did that. The final offer was issued, and the final offer by law has a 14-day expiration period, and so that expired. And so I'm pleased to report that we've been able to go ahead and file the condemnation case itself to acquire the former Charleston course in its entirety. It was filed today, and we have also recorded a lis pendens, which is standard operating procedure with all condemnations. And what that does is it puts the world on notice that if someone's interested in purchasing the Charleston course, that they will be purchasing it subject to your condemnation for park purposes. So the summation of my sort of brief report that I wish I could have delivered in person is that we're well on our way. We made the required good faith bona fide offer, set series of offers. We filed the condemnation, and all of that has happened successfully, and we've recorded the required lis pendens, and so we'll just be proceeding through the court process now. And that's really what I have for the board tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a
Paul.
good holiday.
Thank you. Yeah, Yeah, thank you for your patience with me calling in. Take care.
All right, no problem.
Is there anything else that needs to be brought before the board?
I move that we close.
Well, before we adjourn, we gotta sign checks. though.
Yeah,
We can,
So
Well-
we'll adjourn pending.
so that we don't have this problem next month, where do we fall for Christmas?
December 19th is the meeting.
Yeah. I think that's what
I thought it was the fourth Thursday.
it is.
That's the third Thursday.
Because that
Because
would be
yeah, we moved it.
26th.
Oh, so we moved it to the 19th
Yes.
already?
We
Oh,
moved it
okay.
somewhere.
I just wanna make sure,
It
okay.
was the 19th is what we did.
Okay.
Yeah, the 24th, 25th would be the,
It's not gonna be at
They
6:30 at night, is it?
December
We said for the
19th
next,
at 6:30 PM.
Yeah.
what do you got, a Christmas party or something that night?
But
It's the middle of the night. It's dark out there. I'm scared. Just kidding.
There's a way to fix that. Okay.